Typically, those looking to adopt dogs choose the fluffiest and prettiest ones. However, Leslie Shax, a lady, made an extremely startling request when she entered a shelter. All of the employees were crying by the time she finished. Leslie's family lost one of their pets, and that's when everything started. Regretfully, Leslie liked it most. You know, Leslie never let it get to her when things didn't go well. Because she didn't want her kids to worry about her, she was extremely skilled at hiding her aches and concerns. But she lost it when this dog passed away. Leslie's daughter Sienna remarked, "I thought my mom would be strong, but that's actually the first time I've seen her cry." Leslie went to an animal shelter to acquire a new dog after the family felt they needed one soon after the last one passed away. Nevertheless, she deviated from her usual behavior this time. This woman asked to meet their eldest dog when she arrived. She didn't even give a damn if it was sick. When a dog is put up for adoption, most shelters have dogs that are repeatedly passed over. Leslie was going to give this dog a lifelong home. Exactly. What specifically did this woman do to bring the workers to tears? At her request, Leslie was introduced to Sam by the staff. After more than half a year in the shelter, the poor animal was unwanted. It took a month for the dog's previous adopter to give her back. Leslie was intrigued by everything, especially after learning that Sam could be a pain in the ass. Leslie was still curious about her narrative. Sadly, it wasn't a joyful one. Sam had already experienced a great deal in her life at the age of 7. Her skin was allergic to something. She had hair loss and skin lumps as a result of this. Leslie chose to change the animal's tail, even though she was the sort of dog that no one would even bother to take a second glance at. But for some reason, she managed to find a place in her heart. Plans were being made to allow Leslie to bring Sam home when something unexpected occurred. You see, Sam wasn't the only dog in the shelter who wasn't adopted. Brutus was another. No one came for this 13-year-old dog because of his bad health. He wasn't even enthusiastic about playing with the other animals in the shelter because he was by alone. Even worse, he was going to be put to death since his time was running out. Perhaps the dog understood this. That's why he would constantly wait to die by sitting in a corner. Leslie was stuck. She was also intrigued to Brutus after learning about his story. She had only gone to the shelter to adopt one dog, which was a concern. Leslie had to choose between Sam and Brutus as quickly as possible. The staff manager provided more details regarding the dog's unique requirements in an attempt to expedite her judgment. For her part, Sam's skin condition required a specific diet. What then had Sam done to warrant her being returned to the shelter each time she entered her adoptive family's home? This puppy would often cause issues since she had difficulties getting along with other dogs there. However, Brutus also had a period of time spent living with a foster home. But shortly after they adopted him, he began to exhibit significant separation anxiety. He also suffers from a number of illnesses. It seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? So it would be simple for anyone to just answer, "No, not either of these two. Please go on to the next." What, though, did Leslie do? Despite their best efforts, the shelter staff was unable to provide Brutus with constant companionship. To give him someone to be with, one of the staff members actually allowed the dog to visit her workplace on a regular basis. But that didn't help either. Maybe he just didn't like the life here at the shelter, they believed. They concluded that it would be better to let him depart with Leslie. They concluded that he was a superior applicant. For Sam, there was another moment, perhaps tomorrow or the next, but today wasn't her day. Leslie was thinking about something completely else as the crew was making all of these arrangements. Leslie needed to make the decision for herself, even if the staff urged her to accompany Brutus, so they all waited for her to decide. The crew loved both of the dogs dearly, and choosing which one to provide a better life to was a very difficult decision for them. Even while they would have welcomed someone else to enter and take one of them with them, they were aware that this would not occur, therefore one dog would have to remain. Who may that be? Leslie thought about it for a few minutes before opening her eyes. Subsequently, she directed her gaze on Brutus, who gazed directly back into her eyes. Then she instantly connected with the dejected puppy. Leslie remarked, "I will go with him," to no one in particular. The crew erupted in happy hand-clapping when they heard this, but when Leslie spoke again, there was complete quiet. They heard her correctly, but the crew was bewildered. Before Leslie spoke again and turned to face Sam, they wondered, did this really be happening? I'll accompany her as well. I'll take Sam too, Leslie declared, grinning at the fortunate canine. Now it looked as though everything was moving quickly, and the employees were in disbelief. They reflected on the struggles the dogs had endured, knowing that it was about to come to an end. The personnel let the tears run freely since they were unable to control them, despite their best efforts. The crew couldn't contain their enthusiasm, so they posted Brutus and Sam's tail on social media and snapped some quick photos of them. It seemed unbelievable to us. We brought Sam, who had several health problems, to Leslie. He lived with us for 5 months before being adopted, and Brutus, who suffers from severe separation anxiety, lived with us for 5 months before being taken to be put to sleep at the age of 13. Regardless of the length of time required, we committed to giving these two incredible canines another shot. They had a nice day together today. Sam and Brutus would enjoy their golden years in Leslie's 3-story home with ample room, they said. Leslie could not take her eyes off the gentle creatures who had experienced a life of sadness no animal deserved as she walked the dogs to her car. She then addressed them in a very composed manner. She reassured the dogs that they now had a family that would love them unconditionally and a lifetime home. She also pledged to Brutus that she would share his sorrows and anxieties. No matter how wonderful or painful the situation, they would share it together. Every employee assembled outside to bid a tearful farewell as Leslie loaded the dogs into her car and drove out. They were all without a dry eye. They were speechless by Leslie's incredible and kind gesture. This woman thought all animals should be given another opportunity, regardless of their appearance or behavior. These two canines had a difficult past, but Leslie gave them a better existence. Leslie dubbed him Bruno after Brutus emerged from his shell, and Sam, who was now going by Bella, was quite accommodating. Perhaps in their hearts, even the meanest animals have a weak point that only amazing and kind individuals like Leslie can find. How beautiful her soul is. Nevertheless, Leslie has taken similar actions before. More than 50 pets who only wanted a quiet home have been adopted by her. Shelters put in endless hours every day in the hopes that one day someone like Leslie might show up to take the creatures that nearly everyone turns away. Brutus and Sam are just 2 of the millions of dogs who are out there waiting for someone to come along and alter their tale. No matter how difficult things become, Leslie will never take the 2 back to the shelter, so they are grateful for their second shot at love. This time, genuine love. One employee, Meredith, recalled the memorable occasion by saying, "It's been a while since I've heard someone say, 'Give me your 2 dogs who have been here the longest with special needs.'" We were all stunned. It was amazing, possibly one of our greatest days in a very long time. How do you feel about Leslie's performances?